You've been told that love is a matter of chance, chaotic collision of chemistry and timing. But what if the silence you hear when you pray for clarity isn't an absence, but an orchestration? Stop and consider the architecture of your life. Every time you asked for a sign and received silence. Every time you tried to move forward only to feel an invisible hand pulling you back. It felt like rejection. It felt like the heavens were closed. But under the lens of the divine, there is no such thing as a random encounter. There are only assignments. God does not build love on the shifting sands of emotion. He builds it on the bedrock of revelation. And because the divine mind operates on a frequency far beyond our linear logic, his signs often appear weird, uncomfortable, and entirely unpredictable. Tonight, we decode the 7 strange signals that the architect of the universe is revealing your future spouse. You are not lost in the dark. You are being led through a labyrinth, where every turn, no matter how strange, is being carved with intent. Before the union, there is always the wilderness. In the modern world, we fear solitude. We interpret a dry season in our dating life as a failure of our own worth. But look closer at the ancient patterns. Before Eve was ever formed, Adam was alone, not lonely alone. There is a profound distinction. Loneliness is a void. Solitude is a womb. Adam wasn't frantically searching or begging. He was tending his garden, walking in the cool of the day with the source. God waited until the man was fully established in his own purpose before he declared, "It is not good for man to be alone." If your phone has gone silent, if the circle you once relied on has withered away, do not panic. This is divine isolation. Like Ruth leaving the familiar comforts of Moab for the dusty fields of Bethlehem, God often separates you from everyone else to ensure that when the one appears, your eyes are clear enough to recognize them. He is refining your hearing in the quiet so that you won't be deafened by the noise of a relationship later. Separation is not punishment. It is positioning. It is the clearing of the stage before the protagonist enters. We have been conditioned to believe that soulmates never argue. This is a dangerous romantic myth. In the kingdom of divine alignment, God often uses conflict as a diagnostic tool. Think of Mary and Joseph. Their union began not with a romantic sunset, but with a crisis of faith and a planned divorce. Joseph's confusion was not a sign of a bad match, but a test of his obedience to a dream. Or consider David and Abigail. Their first meeting was a clash of characters, a confrontation that turned vengeance into humility. God uses friction to expose the foundation. He wants to show you. Does this person pray when they are angry? Do they flee when things get uncomfortable? Or do they seek the center? True love, the kind ordained by heaven, isn't proven in the harmony of the honeymoon phase. It is proven in the sanctification of the storm. If you experience a weird disagreement that leads to a deeper spiritual growth, you aren't seeing a red flag, you're seeing the forge of a covenant. When the universe wants to highlight a specific path, it uses the echo. You might notice a name, a face, or a specific situation resurfacing with a frequency that defies the laws of probability. In the book of Acts, Peter had to see the same vision 3 times before his dogma shattered. This is divine persistence. God is a master of holy patterns. Perhaps you keep crossing paths with a certain person in the most illogical place. It's a different city, a random coffee shop, a shared project years later. But a warning for the modern seeker. Repetition does not always mean reunion. Sometimes, God repeats a pattern from your past to see if you have finally learned the lesson. Is this a Boaz returning? Or is it a Pharaoh trying to lure you back to Egypt? The difference is found in the fruit. Divine repetition brings a sense of calling and clarity. Carnal repetition brings obsession and anxiety. If the echo brings peace, pay attention. The architect is pressing the same note until your spirit finally tunes into the melody. We live in the era of instant everything. We want love at the speed of a fiber optic connection. But God is a gardener, not a microwave. Jacob worked 7 years for Rachel, and the text says they seemed but a few days to him because of his love. In our modern context, delay is often viewed as a no. But in the divine economy, a delay is a not yet. God is testing your wanting versus your waiting. Distance and time are the ultimate filters of intent. If a connection is merely emotional, time will dissolve it like sugar in water. But if it is ordained, time will refine it like gold. While you are waiting, God is performing a dual surgery. He is refining your character and shaping theirs simultaneously. He is protecting you from a good thing so that you are ready for the God thing. When the foundation is meant to support an eternal structure, the architect refuses to rush the curing process. God has a penchant for the unconventional. He spoke through a donkey to Balaam. He spoke through a burning bush to Moses. He spoke through a star to the Magi. In your search for a spouse, do not expect only thunders and lightnings. Watch for the subtle whisper. It might be a random sermon that echoes your private prayers. It might be a conversation with a total stranger that uses a phrase only you and God know. It might be a weird coincidence, like Abraham's servant finding Rebekah at the exact moment he finished his prayer. The sign you are waiting for might be wrapped in the ordinary. The one God has for you will often be confirmed through alignment, where your peace, the word, and external circumstances begin to point in a singular direction. If it feels too personal to be a coincidence, it probably is. This is perhaps the weirdest sign of all. God will often let you lose the almost to prepare you for the one. We often cling to relationships that are good enough, but God knows they are blockages. Ruth had to lose her husband and her security in Moab before she could ever step into the field of Boaz. Joseph had to be betrayed and forgotten in a pit before he could lead from a palace. If you have experienced a devastating heartbreak recently, do not view it as a waste. It was a redirection. God saw things you didn't see. He heard conversations you didn't hear. He knew that if you stayed in that almost relationship, you would never have the capacity to receive the assignment He has for you. Heartbreak is the clearing of the soil. It waters the ground for a love that doesn't trigger your wounds, but honors your growth. You will recognize the divine choice not by how fast your heart beats, but by how safe it finally feels to exhale. The world teaches us that love is a roller coaster, a chaotic mix of butterflies and anxiety. But in the kingdom, the ultimate sign is not emotional chaos. It is divine peace. Philippians 4-7 speaks of a peace that surpasses all understanding. This is the architect's signature. Butterflies are a reaction to the unknown. Peace is a response to the truth. When you meet the one God has ordained for your destiny, the relationship will not leave you questioning your worth. It will not be a source of constant restlessness. Isaac brought Rebekah into his mother's tent, and the Bible says he was comforted, not excited, not obsessed, but comforted. As you navigate the weird signs of the separations, the frictions, the repetitions, and the delays, rest in this. The God who writes the stories of the stars is the same God writing your love story. He is not stalling. He is sanctifying. Every tear and every unanswered prayer is a piece of a puzzle that He is assembling from above. When the moment arrives, it won't feel like a chase. It will feel like coming home. Trust the architect. The strangest chapters often lead to the most beautiful endings.